Well, hello again, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Good morning. At least it's bright and early where I am. As previously stated, the next video on old Dirty Harry, our 65 Corvair, we are going to get that dashboard looking brand new again. We can't forget the glove box door and the steering wheel and steering column, maybe even the instrument panel. We'll take a look at it, but for now, we're going to focus in on the main subject, and that is the dash. Now, previously, when we paired the rust on the little cowling here, we coated everything in Eastwood's rust encapsulator all the way around, and that includes all the pitting. Yeah, we have some small holes here and there on the dash, but the worst of it is right up against our louvers here for the speaker and the defrost, and I really don't feel like cutting into that. I could maybe get away with it, but then with welding and grinding and everything, I just see a big mess coming up. So, as solid as this thing is yet, we are just going to put a band-aid on it, put lipstick on the old pig, take care of all this pitting, and make it look new again. And it is my car after all, so I don't care what you say. So you had to have seen this coming, right? For those that may not know, this is USC all metal, and it's just a automotive body filler with aluminum infused within. So we're going to get this mixed up and take care of our mass quantities of pitting. Okay, that, as they say, is that. Once I sand this down, there very well may be some pitting in the worst places, left, and we will redo it and keep redoing it until it's gone, right? And those of you who want to argue with me and say this is a terrible thing to be doing, once again, I don't want to get into that mess. And keep in mind, this is a base model Corvair. If you have ever, researched prices on base model Corvairs, they're really not that expensive, is what I'm trying to get at here. And to go through all the work of cutting the entire body apart to remove the dash, it's just not feasible. You're almost better off money ahead just to find a better body. So anyway, like I say, wait for that to dry. I have sheep coming in the door, so I'm gonna close it, and we'll see you after a bit. Did you know that according to the Hutchinson News from 2004, Gugelhof is a European holiday favorite? I mean, cutting edge journalism, Oh, Woody's Furniture's having a sale. Am I looking like Matt Damon when he plays Carroll Shelby on Ford versus Ferrari? Is that the name of it? Yeah. Yeah, I thought so. It was raining out, so I grabbed that. Seems a good choice. I kind of really forget where we're at in this process of this video. I've got the cowl, the little thin strip, pretty well finished. I've got some primer on it. I'm going to do probably a little bit more sanding, get some glaze putty on a few spots, and go from there. However, to continue on, I'm going to keep on stripping down the dash. I'm going to take off the wheel. That's getting painted. Columns getting painted. Dashboard's getting painted. I've got to get all of this stripped down. Our glove box door, overall, it's pretty nice. This bottom corner, it's a little... Oh. That rust was more topical than I thought it was. Good. It's solid under there, so I'm going to media blast that. I need to get the hinge off, and one of the screws at least is going to be very difficult. I'll probably end up drilling it out. Not sure yet. We'll get to that, but you know, all the little switches, the bumpers, these switches, all of that has to come off. All of this has to get tucked up. The speaker, I'm going to pull that. Defrost ductwork, I'm going to pull that so that doesn't get paint all over it. Just whatever I have to do, and then we're going to have to mask off or somehow block off everything on the inside there. So I'm going to work on that for a while. And I need a wrench or a socket. Socket. Dinamite. Whoop. Well, I already need to vacuum again in here, but I think I've got pretty much everything stripped off that I need to. Took a bunch of stuff off the glove box area. I'm thinking those can stay, those switch bezels, and well, the switch is behind there yet, because that's all covered up by the instrument panel. And I will double check all that, but pretty sure the instrument panel hugs the very edge of that dash, so that's not an issue. We can see up in here this pinch weld is the inside of what we fixed in ages gone by, you know. And so I just want to make sure that's never a problem. So I'm coming up in here with a small wire brush and taking care of that. And then I'm going to come back and spray it with the rust fix for now. And then when all is said and done, when I come in here with the brush with body seam sealer, I will swipe that on in there. I want to get the spraying stuff done before we paint this, obviously. So I'm going to do that real quick, and then we're going to start sanding all this old stuff down. And that stuff will gas you out of there, and I mean quick. Better turn the fan on again. Also pulled this out of there. Instant money, baby. Oh, they didn't win. It says it's from copyright 77 and 78. That's funny. Might have to keep that. All right, well, what are we about here? It's been so long. Looks like I have a coat of filler on some areas, and Guess I will get to block sanding that. We still have some very light pitting, maybe trouble areas. Probably would never be seen. I'm guessing the glass and the gasket or the sealant would hide most of that, but I kind of want to make sure. So I'm going to throw some glazing putty on that in some of these areas, maybe just all along here, and we will quickly sand that down and get that looking a little better, just to be on the safe side. We'll get that to curing, and then someone's driving around outside. Oh no, I think that's the mower. I thought there's a four-wheeler running around. We will start sanding. From BB guns to camshafts, we got it all on here. I guess I'll have to clean off again, but anyway. First things first. Box screws. While we wait for that to cure so we can sand it, I'm just going to continue on in here, get my turn signal lever out of the way, because I am going to mask this steering column off and paint that as well. Might as well match. I am also going to get in there now and remove, I hope I can, defroster vents, you know, just so we're not spraying paint down inside the defroster vent and the radio speaker. I think I've already talked about this, haven't I? Got a lot of the old key scratches there. Everything's coming along. I've got a little bit of rust, you know, down here in the glove box where it was so bad. There's a little bit of rust and pitting. I've cleaned that up as best I can, and I'll probably put some of this Duplicolor on there as well. Just try to neutralize it the best I can, you know, and just move on. Now, I will probably, I feel kind of dirty doing it, but I will probably use Rust-Oleum primer out of the rattle can in here. I know it's good stuff. I just don't like to do it, but all my equipment and everything, of course, I I have to bring a gun home anyway to spray this with the actual paint, so I probably shouldn't be like that, but I'm gonna be. So I guess we're all gonna have to deal with it, you know. Now I got single stage paint for this, just like it was originally. And I don't really completely understand what's going on with this, so I really shouldn't be talking about it at all, but I took my glove box lid in and had it matched off of that. And apparently there's some kind of grading system there where the gal said usually they are like within 10 points of the correct color. I don't know how that grading system, the gradient of the paint colors, I don't know how that all works. But she said where they're usually within 10, you know, ours was like at 30 is the closest they could match it to a paint color. Which I don't really understand that. I mean, why can't you add just a little more blue or red and get the correct color? I don't know. It ended up being closest to like some kind of, I think, a Ford Taurus color or something. I mean, could you not do something to get it to 10? I don't understand that. So anyway, we're somewhere like 3 times as much farther away. I don't know what's going on with it, but I should just be quiet. But anyway, it'll be really interesting to see how close or far away this paint is. At the end of the day, when the whole dash and the steering column and wheel are all the same color, should be fine, I suppose. And no one's gonna look in this thing and say, well, you're 30 points off the original color, you know, that looks to me like Ford Taurus green, you know. So except now you'll all say it, I guess. Anyway, I'm going to keep scrubbing and sanding and getting a head full of sanding dust and dirt and grime. And I guess I should shine this up too, you know, do that and do that. And I'm also amazed at how they cut out for accessories, you know. Bubba must have had a jig that he put over the dash and just hacked her out with a torch right then and there. Way to go, Bubba. I'm either painting or playing Ford. Maybe both. I'm not sure. But let's take a look at what we're doing here. I think I am almost done. I want to tape up a few more things. I want to put some cardboard directly under the louvers on the dash there. Everything else is pretty much ready to go. I don't know. All last night, well, not all last night. I did sleep, but I kept going back and forth about the primer, and here we are. I have no other primer here in this shop, so we're just going to go for it. So we will do that in a second. I'm going to wipe this down and start spraying stuff. This is my custom spot spray gun I laid down a Cowl 5G for. It's got the Gene Tierney spray tip. It gives your pattern a bit of an overbite, but it still comes across as absolutely beautiful. I've got the Triticale cup for extra capacity so we can just keep right on spraying and slaying. I then installed the Magnum PI trigger, but I found out I did not have the facial hair to pull it off. So instead, I tried the Drebin conversion. 1, 2, and 3, but in the end, no matter which one you try, they all give you a tendency to want to spray your gun naked. That ain't happening, bruh. And finally, as is the case with all my guns, I have the Phasma Tanages filter. I have these custom rolled for me down in Havana. As for spray pattern, I originally started in with the Icarus method, but quickly had to adapt myself to the Icarus 2. It's like my old paint instructor Steve Walsh used to say, eventually you're going to reach the point of no return and you have to carry on, my wayward son. So let's get to it. So here we are, instrument panel next to it, and you move the light around, we're pretty close in certain ways. My only beef right now is it's just a little bit shiny. I was hoping for a much more flatter, matter, look, and it's not done curing yet, so I'll give it the benefit of the doubt here. But that's kind of a trial and error thing anyway. Ashtray, steering wheel. So yeah, we'll see how it turns out. Yeah, obviously I could have painted a card, let it cure, added flattener, painted another card, done all the right things, but we'll see. Worst case scenario, if a guy just really hates it, he could always go over it with some satin clear and do it that way as well. But I'm kind of guessing it's going to stay how it is. So I'm going to let this cure, then we're going to mask the dash off, and then I'm going to come in, sand our cowl down a little bit. I know I'm not going to like it because there's just no good body lines, but we're just going to do what we can, and then we are going to paint that our body color or a reasonable facsimile of it, and get that done, then work on the door. All right, next day, we still have some gloss to it, but it's not bad. A little bit of sheen isn't going to hurt anything. So the oldest boy has been in here lately. He is really into medieval weapons at the moment, Viking stuff, even biblical weapons. He's making slings. He's trying to cut out Viking axes out of regular old axes that I've metal detected, you know, leather, and shaving down bows, trying to make long bows and recurves and all kinds of stuff, which is all wonderful, but I don't know. It's looking like Roy Underhill's been in here or something. So we're just going to ignore all that for now, and I'm going to try to get him in here today and clean up after himself, for goodness sakes. He's acting like I do. Anyway, that camera, if a butterfly cuts the cheese in China, that thing does a thing. Well, okay, the buttons are arranged poorly on top and my fingers always press the wrong one. If that happens, then it goes into a different mode. It goes into slow-mo and there's no audio. So when I was mixing this up and while I was painting the dash, that went into that mode, so I had no audio. So I'll just tell you now, well, I'll bring you in closer. Why not? The dash I got out of the dash paint was an Omni, which is a PPG badge, acrylic enamel. Got that from CarQuest in Hutchinson, Kansas. And that was at, I know what's on here. I was just going to say the name of it. Oh. Aegean is very oui French. Aegean. Aegean. I don't know. Ford North America. I don't know, but it does match very well. I'm pleased with it. I could have used more flattener in it, but that's okay. Now, Napa in Great Bend, Kansas. I got the Martin Senoir paint. I don't know. This is a factory. According to the factory codes, artesian turquoise metallic should be close to correct. Again, this is acrylic urethane. This just happened to be where I got paint. You know, I was in Great Bend. I knew this place mixed. I was in Hutch, and I knew this place mixed it. So, I'm going to try this. The thing is, I'm assuming when this was repainted sometime in the past, I'm assuming 80s, late 80s, we had a 91 license plate on it, so it could have been very early 90s. It looks like close to original color. I don't know. So this may or may not match. I mean, the chances of it matching exactly are very, very slim, even if everything was done correctly with the same paint brand. But you're talking a span of 30 years. You're talking likely two different paint sources. If it was even absolutely correct, what they did. If this thing looks good from 20 feet away, I will be extremely pleased, you know. I'm going to talk more about why I'm doing what I'm doing it, the way I'm doing it at the very end. But seems like I should say something else at that point, but I can't think of anything to say. Tell me what you think. I mean, it is what it is. You know, on camera, it looks way better, actually. Looks quite a bit lighter to my eye, and of course that'll change as it cures a little bit. Down here in the shadows, it looks pretty good. So, it is what it is. It's amazing what a professional in a modern body shop can do with blending paints these days. Now, of course, you're working with base and clear, and on a newer vehicle, I would say that's a little bit easier to get the correct shade, the correct paint, and but yeah, I can't do. I have no experience for one, but the things that I've seen them do in videos is absolutely amazing, and it looks just as good as it did when brand new out of the factory. I am under no such delusions of grandeur here, you know. So basically, I am going to blend it in up high, and I've got my masking paper curled here, and I'm just going to hit it from this direction, and that'll feather off the paint on the edges there, and that's just the best I can hope for, you know. And then with a little bit of buffing at the very end of all of this, when probably when we get things back together and I spend a day cleaning up and buffing out the paint overall, we'll deal with that. So anyway, just to say, this is my mode, this is what I'm doing. I'm gonna try very hard not to paint any hard lines around these edges where, you know, we just have no body lines. Everything is built solid, you know. So let's get to it. Oh, this is such a Mickey Mouse operation. I love it. Okay. That should be about 10 times the amount we need, which is great. I do hope this, of course, matches reasonably well, as we have an entire passenger door to paint. Uno, dos. Oh, my play school set of measuring cups is on the floor. All right. A little bit of hardener. One of you. Make it so. It's a beautiful paint, that's for sure. Just do this number until the filter falls. This paint gun's okay. Gonna be using it again, obviously. What I don't like about it is they make it, the handle and the body proportionally small as well. And the guy's pinky constantly is touching the air control knob down there, and so it will, I'm just constantly changing the air pressure with my pinky unintentionally, you know. So anyway, luckily we have the Phasmatanagus filter, so we're good. coat number 1. And honestly, I am pleasantly surprised. That is going to look pretty darn good. Give it a few minutes and we'll come back and do it again. While I'm waiting for that coat of paint to dry, or flash off, this is a great time to mention Steve. I have been waiting for a Corvair video to mention him, although these parts are for Stove-Bolt Chevy, 216 or 235, whatever the case, 216 it looks like on the pistons here. Steve Morton, the owner of Morton Classic Garage out of Idaho, deals largely in Corvair parts, and he must have came across my channel, my videos, I don't know, but anyway, we ended up having a conversation first on an email and then on the phone. I talked to him for a bit, and he offered parts for Stove-Bolt Chevys because he doesn't do anything with those, or at least he wasn't interested in keeping these, but we have one factory sealed oil ring container, the Chrome Flex Chevrolet piston ring set. That's just cool. 37 to 53 with 216 engine. These are standard, and a set that's been opened. I don't know that anything's been, I don't think any packages have been opened. There's what those look like. Some of you may even remember these. These are standard as well. So that's cool. And then the pistons, 3 9/16. That is 60 thousandths oversize. We needed, I think we went that high on the 235 for the 48 Chevy. Of course, these wouldn't have worked there, but just pretty cool, even if we never do use them. But you never know. You never know what's coming around the corner. But a full set of those, if we need them, it's very likely this day and age, if you need to bore out a 216, it's going to have to go 60 over. So anyway, I can't use the rings with the pistons, but who knows? We may have a chance to use both. So big thanks to Steve. I promised I would mention his information. Once again, Morton's Classic Garage. You can email him at that, and there is his phone number. I have no idea if the camera is focusing, but anyway, you will find it if you need Corvair parts. I'll be honest, I was a little skeptical about this paint and a little nervous about doing the door. I was, and it still may end up that way, that the door just stands out compared to the rest of the whole right side of the vehicle. But I gotta be honest, it's looking pretty good. Somewhere in here, the new paint stops. So anyway, that's 2 coats. I'm going to do another one, and I think that'll be it, and we should have some material to work with if we want to sand or buffer, feather it off, blend it in the best we can. Take 53. Okay. Well, guys, that is gonna do it for this one. The camera is a good 5 feet from the front bumper. I know we're in a shed, LED lights, looking through a camera lens, but what do you think? You know, if it looks that good from that distance, just think how good it will look from 20 feet, you know. 4 times as good, right? Basically is what I'm saying. I threw the cowling in there. I just wanted to see, you know, get that all nice up and close and compare. And I think I've showed you closer in the past, maybe when I took the cowling off or something, I don't know. But where the wiper arms were is still clean paint, basically. And it might be a little bit lighter, but you know, it looks pretty good. In the future, me, the car, and a clay bar are going to have a lot of quality time together, and that'll probably be one of the very last things we do on this car, is really scrub it down with a clay bar, wash it, and buff it out. And then I think it's really going to look pretty good. You know, the paint job that was done on this in the late 80s, early 90s, whenever, it's really terrible. But we're gonna work with what we got. You know, we got a lot of chipping around the edges. I peeled the tape off from around the windshield opening that I put on there before we put the rust encapsulator in there. You know, paint flakes came off with the tape. There's flaky stuff on the cowling and the louvers there, just all over. But be that as it may, there's just not value here. I know restoration shops thrive. Their very existence depends on the fact that the work they do is way above and beyond any value of any car, you know. And that is certainly the case here. You can buy a very nice running, driving Corvair for several $1,000s, you know. $5,000, especially the first gen, first body style, is going to buy you a very nice Corvair. You know, you might spend a little bit more money on the second one, second gen, but you can, you know, they're just underappreciated cars, in my opinion. I've loved them since I was a kid, and I still do, and that's why we're here. So, as I remember, the lady I bought it from initially was asking like $2,000. I went and looked at it, and it had no front floor pans. The paint, I could tell the paint was bad. It hadn't run since presumably 1991. Tires were all flat. Headliner was hanging down. You know, door panels are curling up on the bottoms. The seat upholstery was ripping open at the seams, and it was kind of a bad, kind of an ugly re-vinyl job anyway. It just needed a lot of work. This front emblem was missing. You know the deal. I offered her $1,000 because it was, while straight enough and complete enough to deserve this, it may have been really parts car-ish, and I don't really like that term. A guy fixes up what he wants to fix up. It doesn't really matter what it is, you know. So I think we ended up at $1,200 when I paid for the car. The paint I just sprayed on, that quart and the hardener and the reducer, was almost $300. You know, so is it worth putting the equivalent of a $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 paint job on a car that in the end will be worth $5,000? You know, could you get $10,000 for it? I don't know. I doubt it. Not that I want to sell it, but anyway, that's why we christened it Dirty Airy from the very beginning. And while it's going to look much better and perform much better and be much more enjoyable, much cleaner, much shinier in the very end, if I could talk, it shall forever be known as Dirty Airy in my heart, right? So it is what it is. We're just going to keep pecking away at the problems. We do have some more rust down on the rear quarter under where the battery sits. We have some rust and so forth on the wheel openings. All of that will be taken care of eventually. I don't know when. Absolutely everything else is getting done before that ever happens. So we don't even want to think about repainting this thing, if ever, until then. So what's going to happen next? Back glass and windshield are happening next. We can reassemble the dash. We can put carpet in. We can put a headliner in. We can start redoing the seats, figuring out what we're going to do with door panels. So much more. Basically, we can start putting the whole thing back together, is what I'm saying. And now I am very excited about getting the door painted because this looks so nice. So, guys, I think that's going to be it. I really thank you for coming along and joining me. If you haven't subscribed, you like this project, you might consider doing that. I hardly ever mention that or ask that. And I guess I should just say thanks for coming along. God bless you. We'll see you on the next one. Nailed it.